Joining me now, the president of the VCDL, the Virginia Citizens Defense League, our good friend Phil Van Cleave. He's all over this stuff. Sends out a daily newsletter, updates. Got to read that. Easy read. Keeps you up to date with everything that's going on. Hey, Phil, great to have you.
Hey, John. It's been a while. It's great being on.
I know, man. You've been doing all my competitors, though. I keep tabs on you, Phil. I keep you're a man in demand. You can go on John Reed, and in between talking about the squirrel in the tree, then he'll talk to you and whatever else Reed does to put people to sleep. Anyway, Phil, we're not talking about John Reed. Let's talk about you and VCDL and some of the gun laws restrictions that just gone into play July 1st. What are they?
Well, we got quite a few, and we'll talk, I guess, about the more important ones, at least initially. One that's we're really fighting the hardest, right as we're speaking, is one where local government can set up some of their own gun control. They can ban guns in government buildings and parks and recreation and community centers and at permitted events, festival or whatever, and the streets around that permitted event, which is really bad. And we have Alexandria was one of two that came right out of the box with a full ban on all of that stuff. Even if you got a concealed carry permit, you can't carry there. They will warn you, and then if you don't vamoose, you will get charged with a Class 1 misdemeanor. Richmond did almost all of that. They didn't do the last part about permitted events, but they did everything else with no warning. Again, a Class 1 misdemeanor. And no permit holders accepted. Again, permit holders just don't commit crimes. That's the most law-abiding of law-abiding, but no exception for them. So this is a real danger because if it spreads, as you travel across the state, you're not going to know what the laws are from county or city to city, county to county, town to town. Hodgepodge, right? Up till now, you could learn state law and you were good. As long as you stayed within the law of the state, you didn't have to worry about running afoul of some stupid local gun control issue. So we're fighting that. Go ahead.
So Phil Van Cleave, I just want to get back to Alexandria. Let's just get back here. So I've got a gun, and I have a concealed carry permit, and I'm in Virginia Beach, and I'm driving to Richmond, and I want to go to an event there, whatever, dinner with a friend, and I have my concealed carry permit, and I have my revolver in my glove box, or I have it on my hip, and I get in the city of Richmond. What's different?
Well, you can't go to any of their parks, so you can't go none of the parks. You can't go into any government buildings. If you were going to go to a recreation center, you can't go there, or community center, can't do that. And if you continue driving up to Alexandria, all of that would be banned. And if there was a special event going on, you couldn't carry on a street or anything where that event's going on, a permitted event, or the surrounding streets. So you might want to drop into maybe a restaurant up there, and you won't be able to until the event is over because you will be on a street next to this special event. And it's, in fact, if you were in the restaurant and you said, well, honey, it's time to go home, and you stood up and you realized they just started an event, you couldn't leave the restaurant. So until it was over. And what if they had two events in a row, like they might at their farmers market up there? So it's, they're going to want to continue to expand this and give more and more power to these localities. The initial bill they put in that we managed to put the kibosh on would have allowed the locality to do anything. I mean, the locality could have said, "Oh, we don't allow concealed carry here. You can't, or we don't allow you to carry a gun at all." It could have been really bad. But as it is, this is not good. So we're fighting that, and I'll talk about how people can go to our website and help with that fight. The next thing we're fighting is what you mentioned. The General Assembly is going to probably be brought back into session in August. We don't know when in August. I think it's interesting that they're keeping that date under wraps so late. Might be to deter somebody like us from having time to knowing the date to set up to have a rally. And so we're having our members contact preemptively all the members in the General Assembly, at least their members, but we got 52,000 people doing this at least.
Right.
It does touch everybody. Saying no more gun control. Don't. If the session comes in, do not even think about gun control. And so we're doing that preemptively. We don't want any more of this.
Mm-hmm.
But we got red flag came in. That was one we've been warning everybody about. But that huge rally we had in January, the thing about it was, I think it helped temper a lot of this stuff. The red flag, as much as bad as it is, and we need to get it off there for a red flag law, it's got some decent protections up front to keep you from somebody doing it maliciously to you, to saying, John is dangerous, let's take away his guns, and then in a few weeks he can come in and prove that he's not dangerous, however
Right.
you do that. So that's in effect, but to our knowledge, there have been no cases yet. If anybody does get red flag, come to us and let us know, because we want to watch these and look for any issues. Because if there are, then we'll have a plaintiff to sue with. So that's one of the bad ones. Universal background. By the way, we got that one in court. Next one we got in court. One handgun a month. That's in court. This decision on a stay will be coming up very short. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get mixed up here. One handgun a month, we already were told they won't stay, but it's still in the courts. That one is like, what other right do we ration? Do we say you can only go to church once a week and you only have one newspaper and read it once a day? We don't do that, but we're doing it with this. So therefore, because it's guns, it somehow makes sense to some people that we should ration things, as if that makes a difference for anybody.
Well, here I got a text here. I want to read a text from Ken in Chesapeake. I think he's onto something. He says, "Hey John, the Democrats want to make it so difficult, arduous to own and travel with a weapon that you just won't bother with it." Is there any truth to that? Is that part of their plan? Just make the whole thing such a pain in the butt, you just stop getting involved in it?
Absolutely, yeah. He's 100% correct on that. The whole idea is that they can't directly come and take our guns.
Right.
They'll just make it. Yeah, you can carry a gun. Yeah, but go ahead and try it. Just if you want to put up with all the hassles and everything. What if you had to go to DMV every day to be able to drive your car? At some point, we've probably stopped driving cars because
Right.
we just wouldn't do it. So that's very much a part of it. The red flag is to scare us off from doing it and make it easy to disarm somebody who hasn't done anything wrong.
Right.
One handgun a month, rationing does nothing. Universal background checks, that's one that's a pain, and that's again part of the same issue. The universal background check says that even a private sale, you got to go find a dealer somewhere, and you and the purchaser have to drive down with wherever this dealer is. In some parts of the state, it may mean you have to drive an hour or two to get to a dealer that does this, and then do the background check, which can take a little while, and then you get to sell your gun. And we've got that one in court. That's the one that we should be hearing something possibly today or tomorrow on whether we'll get a stay on that.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with that one was there's lots of problems, but one of the things it did as a side effect that the General Assembly didn't warn anybody about was that it took away the ability of somebody from 18 to 20 to be able to buy a handgun at all. It used to be that you couldn't buy one from a federal dealer, which was interesting because we always talked about, everybody should have a background check, and yet the government didn't want 18 to 20-year-olds to get a background check because it required if they got a gun, they got it from a third party.
Right.
And that didn't require a background check. Now, because it's requiring a background check for everybody, 18 to 20-year-olds just lost their ability to own a handgun because they can't buy one from even from a friend or family couldn't sell them a handgun. So we're fighting that, and hopefully we'll get a judge to, in the courts to overturn this. And that's just part of it. It's just such an insidious law. And again, same thing. Let's try to reduce the amount of gun ownership. Ultimately, that's what they want to do. I was reading headlines from November of last year, leading up to General Assembly, and Northam was saying, we're looking at taking away guns. At that point, it was the quote unquote assault weapons, semi-automatic rifles and stuff. But they were admitting it, and there was multiple stories on this. Yeah, we're coming to take guns away. We're just looking into details on it. And yet, if you ask them now, they say, "Oh no, we didn't want to take anybody's guns." Yeah, they do. Yes,
well, sure they do, and look, the contrast in the protest, right? So we in VCDL and other gun owners, Second Amendment advocates, have a protest in Richmond. There were 50,000 people there, not 20,000, like the media lied about, but it was a peaceful protest. It lasted all day. The streets, by the way, outside of Richmond were cleaner after the protest was over than before they got there, right? Streets were, I could have a picnic out there and eat off the street. They were so clean. People picked up trash that was there when they got there, let alone picking up their own stuff. Completely great. But remember, the governor closed the city, closed driving, shut streets off, surrounded the Capitol with fencing, right? Remember all that?
Yeah, he called it an emergency. He said a state of emergency.
Meantime, these protests in Richmond, the governor's done nothing, no emergency, nothing. He hasn't done anything. When was the last time you were downtown Richmond?
I haven't been down for a while now.
The next time you're anywhere in Central Virginia, take the extra time. Go downtown, drive around. You're going to throw up. It's disgusting. Graffiti, the F word all over the place. Windows boarded up. Glass still flying around. They came in. They destroyed the downtown city. They burned out stores. Businesses shut down. Graffiti all over the place. The thing is absolutely... you're going to want to cry. The Supreme Court building's got graffiti on it. There's garbage all over the place. It is gross. So their protest with all the garbage trash and the F word and all the graffiti, that's fine. But our protest, he calls a state of emergency. The hypocrisy of this governor, the politicization and the hypocrisy of this governor is beyond the pale, Phil.
Yeah, we were totally struck by this whole thing because, I know what we went through to hold our 100% peaceful rally. And, oh, boy, you'd swear the world was coming to an end. They had brought in police from all over the place. They, fenced everything off. They kept changing the rules on what we had to do to get our permit. It was just one thing after another. We had to put in. We paid for like 50 porta potties. We had, all that stuff. We paid for that. I don't think the rioters paid for any porta potties or anything. They just used the street, I guess. It shows there's an absolute agenda here, and don't let them tell you anything otherwise. They want to disarm us. You cannot have a socialist or a communist society with an armed populace. You can't do it.
No, they got to get rid of the guns. The final straw, the final thing they need to do, Phil Van Cleave, we're with Phil Van Cleave. He's the president of the VCDL. We're going to get this site in a minute, Virginia Carry Defense League. That is the final thing they need to do. For the left to have complete control, they need to take your guns away. We saw what happened to that couple in St. Louis trying to defend themselves. Nobody wants that. Now there's shops in Seattle that are coming out and saying they will not allow officers in that have a firearm on their side. The final straw is they got to get your guns. Right now, there's 300 million guns in the United States. About 1/3 of Americans own them. So it's about a third, about 100 million people, I heard, Phil, somewhere in there. About a third, about 1 out of every 3 adults own a firearm, majority in the Southwest, to be honest. So as long as U.S. is armed, right, they'll never get the complete capitulation they want, right?
No, because at some point they will push too hard and the Second Amendment will kick in.
Yes.
You'll see neighbors getting together with neighbors and so forth. It's yes, and that's the one bright light. And by the way, all of this stuff between the threats to take away our guns in November and December of last year, then the COVID hitting, where that made people suddenly wake up and go, wait a minute, it's the food supply. We didn't know where this was going, and we still don't know what future events are going to do, but people were going, if the food supply gets interrupted, what if the electricity gets cut off for an extended period of time? What if I can't get drinking water? Well, on and on. The person starts thinking, what if there are riots like we're seeing now, but much worse because people are starving to death? What about all that? How do I protect myself? What if the police are sick with COVID and there's nobody to come help me anyhow? And then Now the riots and all that stuff started, and that's bringing yet more gun owners. I mean, they actually set the record for gun sales last month in June, and July may end up beating it. All that stuff, people are now, again, looking around saying, whoa, they're talking about getting rid of the police. And so gun sales are soaring. They're getting tons of new gun owners, and some of them are from the other side of the fence that are finally woke up and said, I am responsible for my safety and the safety of my family. It's not up to the police. It's been a long time coming for a lot of them, but they are waking up. So it's going the other way. We're not seeing this working and guns disappearing. We're seeing more and more people getting guns and getting training to make sure that they can protect themselves. So that's a silver lining in all of this, is that it's going the opposite direction of what they want to do. And I talk to people who've never committed a crime in their lives and wouldn't, but they will not turn in their guns. They will not follow an unjust, unconstitutional law, and we're not required to.
Well, it's coming. It's coming. Hey, Phil, I'm running out of time. VCDL, Virginia Citizens Defense League, you guys doing a fabulous job. People want to sign up, be a member, get involved. Phil, what do they do?
Go to vcdl.org, Virginia Citizens Defense League, the initials.org, and you can sign up right there at the top. Also, there's 2 items right at the top of the web page when you go there that you can do to help with the fight. One of them, you send an email to your local government officials telling them to pass a resolution saying they will not pass any more gun control. And Powhatan, for example, has already got a meeting lined up to pass that resolution. And then the next item down is where you tell your local, your senator and your delegate, we don't want any gun control in August. Do not do gun control. And that's a simple click, and it figures out who your representatives are and sends off an email that you can edit it if you want, but put your own word. Yeah, so go to vcdl.org.